Uh, so where were we? Yes, I. How do you approach a girl without offending her? Or how do you approach a woman? Hmm. We couldn't find a concrete answer, and I believe that's because there is none. And with that said, I believe the best one can do is just be your truest self and brave those waters and engage. But now let's put that aside. How do I put this? When is it considered appropriate for me to actually engage? Right? Because I mentioned a story of how I once approached a girl by running up behind her and her friend. Yeah, I know it sounds creepy when I say it like that, but had you listened to our first podcast, you'd understand why it wasn't creepy when it happened at the time. It was actually quite a funny story now that I think about it. But now, what is the appropriate way of approaching? Like, when is the appropriate time? That's the question. When is the appropriate time to approach or to shoot your shot? Is it when you find her sitting alone, eating her lunch? Is it at a club when you see her on the dance floor dancing with her friends? When is the appropriate time? These are the questions that I need answered as a young man in today's society, in today's world. These are the questions that are in my mind. When is it okay for me to approach you with my proposal? Is it when I bump into you in a supermarket? Is it at the gym by the water fountain? Where is it? Is it at the bank while we're standing in line? Is it at the cinema while I'm getting my popcorn? When is it the appropriate time to engage? Or better yet, when is it not appropriate? How can I put this? When does a woman not want to be approached? Like, when she's like, at this point, at this very moment, as I am here, I do not want to be approached with any proposal, with any advances. When is a guy not supposed to approach you? Because I feel like that would narrow it down more than me asking, when is it appropriate for me to approach you? But I want answers to both questions. Because these are the things that guys need to learn so they can avoid conflicts with women, Because I feel like there are so many factors already out there in the world that are causing a gender divide that I feel like we need these questions to be asked and we need them to be answered. We need to create more discussions over the simpler things in order to avoid the larger conflict. I don't know if you agree or not, but I feel like we need more people speaking and sharing their opinions so we can actually navigate and brave these waters together, so we can actually build and grow together as a society, because I feel like men and women are pulling further and further away from one another, and that's because of a lack of understanding. And the only way I believe you can fix a lack of understanding is by educating one another on what we're about. That way, if we understand each other's thought process and how we perceive the world and how we rationalize, we can work towards a common ground. And once we get there, we can actually truly and openly engage with one another. Do you understand? That is the end goal, right? That is the end goal. We want to get to a place where it is safe to engage in open conversation with one another. That's where we want to be. That's what I hope, that's what we all want, right? So now, as a guy, back to the question at hand right now. As a guy who likes a girl, when is it appropriate for me to shoot my shot? Where exactly? Where? Which areas, which environments are considered appropriate for me to shoot my shot? Is the supermarket okay? Is the gym fine? Is it a restaurant? Is it a club? Is it a cinema? Is it in a lecture hall? When is it appropriate for me to shoot my shot? And when is it not? And I understand. I think here's one thing people tend to forget. Common sense is uncommon. Common sense is uncommon. Because you can't expect a complete stranger to understand something that you've understood for years because it is from within you, right? So you can't expect a complete stranger who has never met you before in his whole entire life to rationalize the same way you do. Hence, therefore, I say common sense is uncommon. You might expect that no one will bother or approach you while, let's say, maybe you are shopping. For example, it's not the best example, but it's an example. Go with it. You can't expect a complete stranger to have the same rationale. A complete stranger might just see a beautiful young woman and be attracted to you and therefore approach you. You might be angered by this internally, but this is where the elements of empathy kick in, because as the person who is shooting the shot and as the person who's receiving the shot, if I can put it like that, both of you are supposed to be, just to avoid conflict here, both of you are supposed to be capable of empathy, have the ability to view the situation from the other party's perspective. As the one who's shooting the shot, you're supposed to be able to see that, okay, I am approaching this person and she is in no way expecting my approach, but now here I am. So I need not take too much of her time. I need to be direct and charming and pleasant. And you, as the person who is being approached, you're supposed to understand that this person has no idea that you don't want to be disturbed, So if you feel like you want this person to leave you alone, I feel like, to be frank, not rude, just be straightforward and frank. I don't want to engage with you right now. A simple letting down should suffice. And as a man approaching the woman, you should be able to respect that, right? Put your pride aside for a second and be able to respect her as a human being and as an individual in her decision, and respect it. Put aside how your pride was bruised or hurt. I'm going to come back to that matter of pride, just not now, just not today. And I've been Ulungisa Tole with The Living Situation.